The deafening space storm raged on, like dimension-shredding storms cutting through the world. High above the boundless fire domain, the storm grew ever fiercer, hinting at a terrifying power capable of annihilating the world. The power of the Holy Sea Angels is indeed as legendary as they say. Kai Lin stood tall, her slender body poised on the edge of the horizon, the endless power of the tin-colored heaven-swallowing python stirring within her. The power of the tin-colored heaven-swallowing python, at its peak, could even intimidate a top-tier reincarnation stage powerhouse. However, Kai Lin's control over its power was still limited to the 7th or 8th level, putting her strength at around the 8-star Do Xian stage. Once she fully mastered the tin-colored power, she would be able to venture to the center of the monster realm and catch a glimpse of the supreme reincarnation path. Since you are so obstinate then, Kelly didn't use her angel's wings. To her, the fact that Feng had taken away most of the remaining high-ranking members of the Holy See to stabilize their position meant that only a few 8-star Do Xian powerhouses remained here. Now, even her mere reincarnation power was enough to capture them all. Far in the distance, high above the boundless fire domain, Kelly raised both hands above her head, summoning a pale white judgment sacred sword. However, just as Kelly's blade of holy light was about to strike Kai Lin, a massive black shadow suddenly surged behind her, morphing into a strange black figure that clashed directly with the sword. The moment the mysterious shadow met the holy sword, two completely different terrifying energies clashed, turning the entire sky into a dazzling spectacle. Piercing explosions of soul-shaking sound rang out incessantly. What is that? While Kelly didn't like Kai Lin, the tin-colored heaven swallowing python's energy she had just sensed made her cautious. Buzz, buzz, buzz. The blade of holy light, indestructible by nature, began to show signs of crumbling and melting under the mysterious black shadow's assault. Venom? Kelly frowned, then focused her attention on the sky. To her surprise, the holy aura of the sword was being gently devoured, and the cause was none other than the brilliant mist emanating from the black shadow. The mist, dazzling with nearly 7 colors, was so radiant it could not be ignored, and contained a suffocating venom. The venom was so potent that even a mere touch could bring instant death. What is this thing? Never mind. Stop your futile resistance. Otherwise, you will only bring harm to the innocent people behind you. Kelly paused for a moment and confronted Kai Lin in the sky. The power of the tin-colored heaven-swallowing python had already surpassed the reincarnation stage. Even though Kai Lin's mastery of its power wasn't complete, it still sent shivers down Kelly's spine. The tin-colored heaven-swallowing python could devour the sun, moon, and stars with a single bite. Make your move. Kai Lin, however, ignored Kelly's words. She knew that every step she took would determine the fate of the boundless fire domain. Whoosh whoosh. Her sleeves fluttered, and a brilliant 7-colored aura shot out, followed by a series of ear-piercing, ferocious roars. Boom boom boom. The venomous mist and Kai Lin's dazzling primal energy merged, revealing the true form of the massive black shadow. Seeing this sudden change, Kelly's gaze locked onto the mysterious black shadow, which was cloaked in the venomous mist. Under her scrutiny, the eerie mist began to fall away in pieces, as if the shadow was shedding its form. For a moment, it seemed as though a terrifying creature was about to break free from the shadow. Medusa serpent spirit? At the Serpent clan station in the Boundless Fire Domain, a group of Medusa tribe overseers looked up, their voices filled with excitement as they watched the shadow above slowly unravel. So the queen was preparing to undergo the reincarnation tribulation. Instantly, countless serpentfolk warriors cheered in jubilation. The Serpentfolk clan had many branches, but they all shared serpent bloodlines. The 10-colored heaven-swallowing python was the apex of serpent beasts, and its power was undisputed. The 10-colored heaven-swallowing python was considered the true king of serpent beasts. It was said that during the First Great War between heaven and earth, the 10-colored heaven-swallowing python's power surpassed the reincarnation stage and reached the highest realm. If someone could obtain its bloodline or inheritance, they could one day grasp the supreme path. However, The Medusa tribe's cultivation was different from that of other serpent folk, especially for powerful individuals like Kai Lin, who had inherited the tin-colored heaven-swallowing python's legacy. Now, Kai Lin had already mastered the 7 and 8-colored realms of the tin-colored heaven-swallowing python, making her nearly invincible among 8-star Do Xian powerhouses. Even Kelly, sensing the ominous power, was forced into a stalemate. The so-called Medusa serpent spirit before them was none other than the manifestation of Kai Lin's tin-colored heaven-swallowing python power. With a single sound, the dark shadow energy shattered instantly. A terrifying magical beast, over 100 meters in size, appeared in the sky, circling around Kai Lin. 8-colored. Kelly was well-versed in the legends of the Medusa clan. She fixed her gaze on the serpent spirit's forehead, where 8 dazzling colors had already emerged. The 8 colors intertwined, forming a breathtaking display. This magical beast, approximately 100 meters long, was unlike ordinary serpent-like magical beasts. Its entire body was surrounded by a dense mist of venom, and its mesmerizing eyes exuded an aura of violence. A faint fragrance emanated from its body. More importantly, the serpent spirit's scales were extraordinarily peculiar. Upon closer inspection, the scales also shimmered with 8 distinct colors. A serpent spirit formed from the power of the tin-colored heaven-swallowing python. If the 10 colors converged, could rival a reincarnation tier expert. As for the so-called 9-fold reincarnation, it was likely only possible to break through by venturing into the monster realm. Kill. Moments later, Kai Lin and the 8-colored Medusa serpent spirit launched a pincer attack. The so-called 8-colored heaven-swallowing python serpent spirit is nothing. Light finger. Watching the fervent gazes of Kai Lin and the countless people from the Boundless fire domain, Kelly sneered and gently raised her hand, her body floating higher. Reincarnation? Still a single reincarnation. At this moment, Kai Lin halted. The 8-colored Medusa serpent spirit erupted with an intense sense of sorrow, constantly reminding her of the immense danger posed by the woman before her. That power was definitely something she couldn't contend with. Boom! In a flash, Kelly's aura surged dramatically, reaching the level of a single reincarnation. Milky white threads of light gathered rapidly at her fingertips like radiant feathers. In the blink of an eye, a tiny yet dazzling milky white giant finger, like a crystal, materialized. Medusa serpent spirit, 8-colored heaven swallowing earth. Kai Lin, not daring to think about whether she could withstand this attack, gathered countless forces in an instant. She then controlled the 8-colored Medusa serpent spirit to open its bloodthirsty mouth, unleashing the combined power of the 8 colors in an attempt to strike at Kelly's giant light finger. Kai Lin knew that the Boundless fire domain was Xiao Yan's last hope. If she failed, the powerful experts from the Boundless fire domain would follow. The bloodshed that would ensue was something Kai Lin could not bear to witness, and she was willing to sacrifice everything to prevent it. Poof! The finger infused with the power of reincarnation pierced through the heavens and earth. As it barely touched the Medusa serpent spirit's body, the bright light from the sky instantly dimmed. A rare aura of death appeared in Kai Lin's heart, and the serpent spirit's massive body was twisted. At that moment, Kai Lin's entire body turned cold. The Medusa serpent spirit struggled desperately, but defeat was inevitable. It was only a matter of time. Far in the distance, a faint breath quickly approached, emanating an eerie, ghostly aura, with a trace of energy that Kai Lin recognized. It was the unique energy of the Xiao Clan. Ying, take everyone and go. Everyone, including those in the basement. In the sky, while resisting Kelly's ferocious assault, Kai Lin sent a rapid soul transmission to Mu Ying's mind, not missing a single word. The power of Angel Kelly was too terrifying. Right now, Kai Lin only controlled the 8-colored power, and her strength was no different from that of an ordinary mid to late 8-star Do Xian. Had it not been for the power of the 10-colored heaven-swallowing python, she would have perished at Kelly's hands long ago. Kai Lin knew her time was running out, so she could only resort to this desperate measure, exerting all her strength to preserve the last flicker of hope for the Boundless fire domain. Boom! A loud sound erupted. Mu Yingying didn't respond, but in her eyes flashed a resolute gleam. Pink and azure flames rose together, enveloping her, exuding an aura of resoluteness, making her appear like a valkyrie. With a tremor, Mu Yingying soared into the sky, pouring her dazzling power into the serpent's spirit. Even if it was for only a fleeting moment, she swore to resist Kelly's destructive light finger alongside Kai Lin, because they were the two acknowledged matrons of the Boundless Fire Domain. Lady Matron. Looking at this scene, the many powerful figures of the Boundless Fire Domain could not help but tear up, a surge of sorrow filling them. Perhaps their strength was remarkable within the Boundless Fire Domain, but in the face of Angel Kelly's divine power, they felt extraordinarily insignificant. At this moment, gazing at the sky, Kelly seemed like a god, stripping away the lives of the two matrons. In the Boundless Fire Domain, nearly 1 million commoners, their eyes wide and fists clenched, stared furiously at the sky. Zhu Jin, Feng, and the others quickly rushed toward the sky, trying to lend their strength. In an instant, the scene was incredibly spectacular. However, despite the large number of people present, most were powerful beings ranging from 3-star Docian to 6-star Docian. Even if they united, they were still far too insignificant to pose a serious threat to Kelly's strongest strike. Yet, they all knew that victory in this battle was impossible. Even though they faced certain death, not a single one of them even considered retreating. If they retreated, they would be stepping back into the Boundless Fire Domain's stronghold, the very home that they relied on to survive. Millions of people, united in purpose, stood together. At this moment, the Boundless Fire Domain appeared more united than ever. This flourishing and united Boundless Fire Domain has consumed much of the two matrons' efforts. We certainly don't wish to see it destroyed like this. That guy Xiao Yan has shown off many times before. This time, let us old bones lend a hand and do what little we can. One after another, righteous voices echoed through the air, and immediately, waves of intense, fiery energy filled the atmosphere. That was the aura of self-detonation. The veteran figures of the Boundless Fire Domain were actually willing to burn their own lives to buy time for others to escape. Quite a strong force, but unfortunately, there's a demon leader among you. Since you won't surrender, then you shall be completely destroyed here. Watching the hundreds of powerful beings around her making such selfless decisions, Kelly smiled. Crack! The sacred sword shattered, turning into countless strands of light that tightly wrapped around Kai Lin and Mu Yingying. An overwhelming aura of light pressed down on them, and in an instant, they seemed like they would be crushed into dust, their forms and spirits annihilated. Judgment's sacred slash. Fall. With another wave of her hand, endless white light surged forward with a light and holy aura, directly aimed at the two of them, carrying an overwhelming, deadly intent. The divine power was vast and unstoppable. Go! Snake explosion. Kai Lin pushed Mu Yingying back, and the surrounding powerful beings were shocked into retreat by her actions. Medusa's serpent spirit's 8-colored power flared up, and her body swelled as if it were about to self-destruct. In the sky, countless beams of white light stabbed into Kai Lin, and the intense pain caused her face to turn pale. Behind Kelly, endless white light transformed into a giant blade from the heavens, effortlessly tearing through the sky and shooting toward Kai Lin with the speed of thunder. The giant blade from the heavens, surrounded by the breath of countless angels, was immensely powerful and had an overwhelming presence. When did the Holy Sea Angels become so arrogant? The clan mark power, execution. A cold snort accompanied a soft halo that completely enveloped the sky. Vroom vroom. A dark energy, like lightning, surged from the distant sky. The world trembled lightly, and after a brief moment, a massive, jagged black light pillar shot toward Kelly. What is this? Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, Kelly's expression turned deep. Although this terrifying attack was relatively weak, the divine blade from the heavens that she had prepared was completely shattered by this force. Xiao Clan. Kelly looked up and saw 4 figures standing slowly at the far edge of the horizon, 2 men and 2 women. Among them, one man had a black mark on his forehead, emanating a mighty and unmatched power. With Kelly's experience, it was easy for her to recognize that this was the unique aura of the Xiao Clan. Heh, 2 sisters-in-law. I'm glad we made it just in time. In the blink of an eye, one of the figures slowly walked forward and quickly joined Kailin and Mu Yingying's side, smiling broadly. Xiao Gui? At this moment, Kailin, who had barely regained some calm, gently patted her heaving chest and the struggling serpent spirit by her side. She asked in surprise. Xiao Gui's situation was something Xiao Yan had told her about, but hadn't they all gone somewhere to subdue the sacred flame? Don't worry, 2 sisters-in-law. My father is here, and this time, he will definitely turn the tide. Xiao Gui's voice became extremely firm as he stood guard beside Kailin and Mu Yingying. Meanwhile, led by Xiao Zifan, along with Yuroer and Xiao Gui's wife, Luo Menglan, the 3 of them slowly floated in the air, surrounding Kelly from all sides in a pincer formation. Why would the Xiao clan still have descendants from the Great Thousand Worlds? This is truly surprising. Kelly looked at the 3 people beside her and let out a small laugh. The strength of these 3 was only between 7-star Do Xian and 8-star Do Xian, posing no threat to her. However, the clan mark on Xiao Zifan's forehead made her feel an overwhelming sense of irritation. Is that so? 10,000 flame suppression stone. Execution. The 3 roared in unison, and countless bursts of energy exploded, creating a terrifying sea of flames that expanded to 1,000 feet in size, igniting and sending a massive wave of energy crashing out. The violent energy fluctuations were more than enough to annihilate a true 8-star Do Xian powerhouse. Light. Kelly lightly waved her delicate hand, and a light barrier descended from the sky, suppressing the flames. As the attacks from both sides collided, the space trembled violently, and countless surges of energy erupted like a tidal wave. The entire Boundless fire domain shook, with trees and plants in the forests trembling in unison. Even some of the buildings in the center of the battle shattered into pieces in an instant. Boom, boom, boom. Despite the vast difference in their power levels, Xiao Zifan's clan mark force actually pierced through Kelly's defenses and struck heavily against her unguarded body. Xiao Zifan's clan mark seemed to ignore the light's defenses. Ah, you're seeking death. Kelly, who had originally been confident in her victory, watched as her skin was torn by the clan mark's force, drops of crimson blood falling. Her voice, filled with fury, was especially sharp and ear-piercing in this vast world. A rare, vicious, and malevolent expression twisted her face, and the burning sensation from the wound on her arm surged. As she looked down at the calm and composed figures of the others below, an overwhelming rage erupted from within her. What a terrifying opponent! After a moment, Xiao Gui joined the battle, and the 4 of them surrounded Kelly, giving Kailin and Mu Yingying a temporary respite. The oppressive power of the reincarnation angel was immense, and without Xiao Zifan and the others' timely appearance, their situation would have been even more dire. Holy Flame, clan mark power, seems ineffective against this person. Seeing Kelly so enraged, a faint holy aura began to emanate from her delicate body. Xiao Zifan furrowed his brow, hesitating as he observed. With his current strength at 8-star Do Xian, he could tell that Kelly, in her rage, was about to unleash even more terrifying attacks. Wings of the Angel. Erase the world. Even a powerhouse like the Reincarnation Angel could be injured by an 8-star Do Xian's attack. A ruthless killing intent and divine aura uncontrollably surged around her. She really is a holy sea angel. At this moment, Xiao Zifan's eyes deepened, and the black clan mark on his forehead gleamed brighter, faintly emitting a mysterious ripple. Father, this person is too strong. Beside him, Luo Menglan's beautiful eyes showed a trace of shock. Holy flame aura enveloped her, yet she still felt an intense suppression. The power of the angel's wings was something they couldn't resist. That person likely needs just a little more time. We must hold on a bit longer. Xiao Zifan's gaze was fixed on the distant horizon. Through the vast void, he seemed to spot Xiao Yan's figure below. As members of the Xiao Clan, they were naturally connected. Everyone, join me. Defend the Boundless Fire Domain. At this moment, Kai Lin and Mu Yingying stepped forward and stood alongside Xiao Zifan, forming a united front. Together, they were a solid wall, showing no fear whatsoever. They all knew this was their last chance for survival. A group of ants, since you are so stubborn, then fall under the light of the gods. Angel's power, annihilate all evil. Divine light shines upon the world. A high-pitched sacred chant rang out as milky white strands of light emerged from the edges of the Boundless Fire Domain, slowly converging under Kelly's feet, forming an extraordinarily dazzling pentagram formation. The pentagram formation was mysterious, with divine light bursting forth, exuding a pure and sacred aura. An attack close to a forbidden technique. She's trying to completely destroy this place. Move. We absolutely cannot let this attack land, or the headquarters of the Boundless Fire Domain will be shattered. Under such an attack, the entire 1,000-mile territory will turn to dust. Kelly's actions made Xiao Zifan's expression tense as he spoke in urgency. After leaving the Ghost Realm, they had gone to assist Luo Minglan in conquering the Holy Flame, and after their training, they had made significant progress in strength. They planned to return to the Boundless Fire Domain for reinforcements. However, they didn't expect that upon arriving, the space portal to the Do-D continent was sealed, and they had to travel on foot. Just as they arrived, they encountered such a formidable opponent. 10-colored heaven swallowing python. Kai Lin shouted, and boundless energy surged forth. As the Lady Matron of the Boundless Fire Domain, it was her duty to be at the forefront. 2-colored sacred flame pearl. Mu Yingying held 2 sacred flame pearls, interwoven in a stunning display. Clan Mark Force. Xiao Zifan also stood firm, unwilling to fall behind. Holy Flame Origin Technique. Cold Mist Flame Realm. Luo Minglan, using her holy flame, subtly transformed into countless wisps of white mist, exuding an eerie beauty. Powerful Do Qi attacks erupted, with no reservations. Their eyes burned with determination, showing no fear or retreat as they gave their all. This was the Boundless Fire Domain, their homeland. Even if they were mere mortals, they would not fear the reincarnation angel's power. Boom! The deafening sound of explosions erupted, with countless beams of energy and attacks shooting out from the vast expanse of the Boundless Fire Domain, heading straight for the invincible Angel Kelly in the sky. The momentum was overwhelming, resembling a hellish forest. Overestimating yourselves. How could you insignificant creatures compare to the messengers of the gods? Despite the terrifying bombardment of energy, Kelly maintained an elegant posture throughout. Although the attacks were fearsome, to her, they seemed no different from a child's play. If it weren't for Xiao Zifan enraging her so much, would she have unleashed such a horrifying assault? Buzz. Buzz. The pentagram array radiated brilliant light, emitting pure white threads that fell onto the bodies of countless people, filling them with an indescribable warmth. Crack, crack. Cracks appeared in the sky, and within every person, fine threads of light appeared simultaneously. Only a few understood that, at this very moment, their lives were at the mercy of Kelly's will. For these threads contained boundless divine power. Once Kelly activated them, this place would likely turn into ruins, because these threads were the offspring of angel power. Die. Without further words, Kelly completed her attack. She gently raised her hand, and an infinite rainbow of light shot down from the sky like a meteor, incredibly powerful, even pulling on the threads of light within countless strong warriors, attempting to trigger an explosion. She was prepared to cleanse the Boundless Fire Domain with blood, leaving no life behind. Poof! Suddenly, the world turned dark, and ominous thunderclouds ripped across the sky. Eerie black energy, like a rising tide, poured down from above. Creatures from the Ghost Realm? In the face of this sudden development, Kelly's pentagram array dimmed instantly, and her eyes emitted a trace of astonishment. The Ghost Realm and the Do-D continent were sealed by powerful forces, and ordinary strong individuals could not cross. But the aura emanating from these thunderclouds was clearly ghostly qi. Angel power originated from light, and without the nourishment of light, Kelly's strength was greatly diminished. Yin-Yang art, the life and death of all things. Destructive seal. Just as Kelly hesitated, a deep, bell-like roar descended from the thunderclouds in the sky. Boom! Kelly looked up and saw a surging wave of eerie ghostly energy forming into a black seal 100 feet tall, carrying terrifying fluctuations, heading toward her for suppression. Angel's wings. In that moment, Kelly stopped holding back, for pure white angel wings instantly materialized behind her. With a gentle flap, the wings effortlessly shattered the ominous ghostly seal in an instant. Angel's wings kill. After breaking the ghostly seal, Kelly stood on the pentagram array, her angel wings pushing her aura to its peak. A trace of disdain appeared on her lips, and in the next moment, the four wings rapidly moved and expanded, shooting toward the eerie figure in the sky. Such a fierce attack, if it hit, would likely result in instant death. Thud. An odd sound spread through the air, and unexpectedly, the four immaculate angel wings stalled as they approached the eerie figure. This is the sixth evil weapon of the ghost realm? Yin-Yang command? Is that Mu Feng? Mu Feng? The crowd was stunned, watching the fierce attack from the sky and then turning to the black figure. Mu Yingying couldn't help but speak. Just as Mu Yingying finished speaking, before the other powerful figures could react, the four angel wings in the sky slightly trembled, and endless arcs of light spread out, setting the eerie world on fire, making it appear quite sacred. The terrifying angel wings showed no mercy, moving at an astonishing speed, tearing through the black figure within the eerie thunderclouds. As they passed, the void was torn open, creating black cracks. The space here became extremely unstable. Even the countless onlookers below, hearing the ear-piercing sound, had their eardrums shaken to the point of bleeding, and their scalps tingled, feeling as though the end of the world had come. It's Mu Feng. After leaving the Xinling continent, he ventured into the ghost realm. I never expected that after several years, his strength would be this terrifying. Mu Yingying and the elders behind her quickly moved to counter the residual force of the angel wings. Then, she spoke. Ghost realm evil weapon? How do you have something like that? In the eerie sky, dark and endless, the brilliance of the angel wings seemed even more radiant. The wings' unmatched attack seemed to hit a stubborn rock in the sky, unable to move an inch. Of course, it's to kill you. Yin-Yang art, broken extinction. Seeing Kelly in such a state, Mu Feng moved. The black crystal defense around him was immediately removed, transforming into a black crystal block the size of a palm at a visible speed. On the surface of the black crystal block were special patterns resembling silkworms, and in the center of the block, the words Yin-Yang were written, exuding a chilling and eerie ghostly chi that was overwhelming and terrifying. Swoosh, swoosh. After a few breaths, the sinister thunderclouds above began to boil and churn. The thunder rumbled like the wrath of heaven, releasing an endless pressure. A bolt of lightning surged from Mu Feng's body, and a very special Yin-Yang power was born. Under his precise control, it suddenly collided with the angel's wing, causing a thunderous roar that echoed through the sky. Whoosh whoosh. Now without the nourishment of light, the angel's wings swayed as if unsupported, shedding pure white feathers that interlaced with the pentagram array. Bang, bang, bang. The feathers of the angel's wing fell to the ground like meteors, creating countless energy ripples across the surface, with flying sand, stones, and a raging wind, making the scene exceptionally intense. Thud. Mu Feng's attack, imbued with the ghostly and sinister energy of the sixth evil weapon of the ghost realm, broke through the angel's wings' defense and directly struck Kelly's abdomen. Ah! A chilling roar reverberated through the heavens. I will kill you. Feeling the intense pain radiating from her abdomen, Kelly coughed up blood, her eyes turning blood red as she glared at Mu Feng like a wild beast ready to devour. As a reincarnation angel, to be injured by two 8-star Do Xian humans, this was a humiliation. Still a little more. Having completed all of this, Mu Feng held the Yin-Yang command and walked over to Xiao Zifan and the others. Though he had inherited the legacy of the king of 10,000 ghosts and gained great fortune, he was not yet in the peak state. Otherwise, he could have directly erased the angel. Everyone, it's been a while. Feng greeted the familiar faces around him. Good to see you back. Yingying also showed a faint smile in response. However, the situation is still unresolved. This space must have been sealed by her. We have no choice but to try to save ourselves, Lin said with some confusion. Now, there's only one way. We'll use our combat skills to feint, creating an opportunity for Senior Xiao Zifan and you, Feng. Looking at the furious Angel Kelly, the wings behind her once again folded, and the temperature in the world inexplicably became scorching. Light threads seemed to struggle to escape the binding of the sinister ghostly chi, about to descend. The fluctuation clearly showed that Angel Kelly was no longer holding back. I'm afraid there will be no opportunity. Feng raised his head and saw the sinister thunderclouds in the sky suddenly torn apart by 4 holy white angel wings, and brilliance once again burst forth. At the same time, the angels' wings, like wild beasts, howled and rapidly expanded. Light threads shot out, and wherever they passed, a warm light and a devastating force descended once more. Such a terrifying attack was enough to annihilate everything. Die! Angel's wings, light cover. A cold, loud chanting voice came from Kelly's red lips, causing everyone's bodies to tense and their souls to shudder. The power Angel Kelly was unleashing now was no longer from an 8-star Dosian level. This was reincarnation. The power of reincarnation. What Xiao Zifan and Feng had just achieved was based on the fact that the angel had not used her full power. Now that Kelly was using her full strength, even if they joined forces, they might not be able to resist. Kelly's chant was brief, but once it was completed, this place would likely turn into a true hellish scene. 1 minute. The last minute. Watching this, Feng remained calm, then stood up first. Endless ghostly chi rose once more as he rushed to block the sky. The yin-yang command doesn't seem complete. What's going on? Xiao Zifan, well-versed in many matters, naturally knew a few things, but there was no time to think further. He also joined the fray, trying to stop the angelic power from gathering. Bang, bang, bang. The angel's wings, accompanied by bursts of light threads, not only nourished those around them but also restrained and locked onto human souls. As they descended, endless brilliance filled the air. Countless powerful warriors from the Boundless Fire domain tried to resist, but their power was too weak. They were directly struck by the light threads, their faces changing drastically as their muscles tightened. Their battle chi churned violently within them, and their souls were painfully hammered by the warm light. This was just the precursor, and yet it held such terrifying power. If the full force of the attack were to descend, the Boundless Fire domain would likely become nothing but an illusion. Lin led the charge, her serpent spirit and her own body slowly rising as her speed surged, shooting straight toward the figure in the sky. Seeing this, the other powerful figures exchanged glances and immediately followed. No matter the outcome, they had no regrets. Fall. The wings of the angel spread like a divine feather blade, and once fully extended, countless white flames formed into columns of light that shot down from the sky, carrying the holy energy of the angel's wings. The immense power was overwhelming, like the supreme force of the Milky Way descending from the heavens, suppressing countless beings below. The suffocating aura of death drew near, causing Lin and the others to chuckle bitterly. Yet, a breath of life force emanated from each of their bodies. They burned their life force to resist the cleansing light, protecting the Boundless Fire domain. When did the Holy Sea's lackeys dare to run rampant in my Boundless Fire domain? A lazy voice rang out, and suddenly, tens of thousands of dazzling fire foxes shot up from the trembling ground of the Boundless Fire domain. The fire foxes collided with the light columns emitted by the angel's wings, and shockingly, both forces canceled each other out. Surviving the aftermath, everyone couldn't help but look up. A massive pit had formed underground beneath the Boundless Fire domain, and within the smoke-filled pit, a figure of a man flickered in and out of view. However, The power emanating from him was far beyond what a normal 7-star Do Xian could match. And when they finally saw the figure clearly, a long-lost sense of relief spread deep within their hearts. Xiao Yan? The quiet lasted for a few breaths, then was shattered by the violent fluctuations of energy in the sky. Someone murmured softly, breaking the silence involuntarily. "Yes, it's me." The figure in the deep pit spoke slowly, and his voice seemed to carry a special magic that made everyone feel warm and familiar. "Kai Lin, Ying, Old Xiao Gui, Mu Feng, Elder Zhu, Elder Serpent, my dear friends, masters, and brothers, thank you for everything. Leave the rest to me." As the smoke on the ground gently dissipated, a somewhat slender figure, wearing a deep smile, slowly emerged from the pit. With each step he took, the entire sky seemed to fall into a deep silence, as if all the energy was gathered just to welcome his return. Indeed, the power of the Yin-Yang command is truly profound. With a single step, a dim white crystal, once vibrant, was tossed back to Mu Feng. Hehe. Mu Feng calmly received it, the black and white Yin-Yang symbol merging as the true Yin-Yang command returned to his hands. Although most of its power had been used up, a group of strong figures landed together. When Mu Feng had first appeared, he had divided half of the Yin-Yang command's power and sent it underground towards Xiao Yan. It was this that allowed Xiao Yan to break free from his seclusion in such a short time, a debt Mu Feng could not deny. After all, with the resources of the entire Boundless Fire domain, the nourishment of the Xiao Clan's 8-grade pills, and the power of the Yin-Yang command, Xiao Yan's immortal strength had swiftly surged, undergoing his nirvana transformation in just a few dozen days. However, Xun'er might need a bit more time. Xiao Yan. Seeing the figure, Kelly's attack suddenly stopped. Her gaze was filled with disbelief. Hadn't the Pope said Xiao Yan was in seclusion with the Xiao Clan? How could he appear in the Boundless Fire domain? The portals to the 4 continents of the Do-Di continent had been sealed by the Pope. To cross continents now would take months. What was going on? Angel Kelly. Xiao Yan rose into the air, slowly facing her, a rare smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. His trip to the Xiao Clan had been the perfect opportunity for his rebirth. If not for the actions of Cardinal and Red Lacy and the others, he wouldn't have become what he was today. Moreover, he and this 4-winged angel were already old rivals. During the Demon Realm mission, if it weren't for this person capturing the light demon, countless troubles wouldn't have arisen. Even if you've been reborn. So what? I am reincarnation, and I am a holy sea angel. Back in the demon realm, I was able to chase you down like a stray dog. Now, I can do it again. Die. Seeing Xiao Yan's fearless expression, Kelly shrugged and sneered. Her angel wings flared again, releasing dazzling white light columns. The pentagram beneath her feet emitted endless radiance, completely enveloping her delicate figure. 4-winged angel, Kelly. First stage of reincarnation. Is that so? Then why is your body trembling? Xiao Yan made no unnecessary movements, his deep eyes calmly gazing at Kelly's form, and he coldly sneered. Xiao Yan knew that Kelly's strength was only the weakest first stage of reincarnation, a low tier one. Even with the enhancement of the angel's wings, the boost was minimal. For some unknown reason, as Kelly was stared at by Xiao Yan, an indescribable chill spread from deep within her body. It seemed as though the danger presented by this man, who was merely at the 8-star Do Xian level, was enough to rival reincarnation itself. Are you afraid? Feel the judgment of the gods. 4 wings of the angel, light's afterglow. Suppressing the heart-pounding sensation that threatened to burst out, Kelly chanted the oldest light spell with a smile at the corner of her lips. Countless rays of light converged into a curtain of heaven, descending from the skies. Bang! 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 The heavenly curtain, formed from the wings of the angel, drained nearly 1,000 miles of space in the Boundless Fire domain, drawing away all the energy of the heavens and the earth. The terrifying force was enough to crush everything in its path. Vroom, vroom, vroom. Facing such an attack, Xiao Yan smiled casually. His golden, indestructible body enveloped him, and once again, he unleashed a Demon Emperor celestial phenomenon, covering the entire Boundless Fire domain. He then looked at Kelly with a smile. Boom! The moment the heavenly curtain collided with Xiao Yan's two-layer defense, an innumerable number of thunderous wails echoed, as if the gods themselves were weeping. The deafening explosion of energy swept across the entire sky. Swish! Swish! The terrifying wind from the energy formed countless storms, rampaging across the Boundless Fire domain. The aftershocks from such an intense energy, even some 8-star Do Xian powerhouses would not dare linger for even a moment. How is this possible? As the heavenly curtain descended, Kelly's breath began to falter. Despite such a terrifying attack, it only forced Xiao Yan's golden giant to retreat several dozen steps, without causing any substantial damage to the Boundless Fire domain or Xiao Yan. She was a first-stage reincarnation powerhouse. Though she was at the lowest level, how could a mere 8-star Do Xian mid-stage person be so resistant? As the energy of the heavenly curtain gradually dissipated, although Xiao Yan was still stepping back, the space above the sky seemed as if it were being devoured by a black hole, about to collapse at any moment, at risk of being sucked into the turbulent currents of time and space. This guy, what terrifying methods! He actually infused his attribute power and sacred flame energy into his 2 layers of defensive golden body. Looking at the Demon Emperor celestial phenomenon enveloping the Boundless Fire domain and the indestructible golden body around Xiao Yan, surrounded by amber-colored fire patterns, Xiao Zifen smiled. Xiao Yan's 2-layer defense was already formidable, and with the addition of sacred flame and various other attribute powers, facing the now flustered Kelly was naturally no challenge. Don't think you can fool me with such petty tricks? The dignity of the angels will not be. A trace of doubt crossed Kelly's face, but she still had a trump card. Though Kelly was indeed a first-stage reincarnation powerhouse, she was not originally from the Holy Sea branch of the Do-Di continent. Her power was merely borrowed through drugs, barely entering the first reincarnation stage. Its authenticity was questionable. Against someone like Xiao Yan, who had been nourished by demonic power and supported by multiple forces, slowly climbing to the pinnacle of strength, she naturally had no way to deal with him. It felt like a second-generation rich heir encountering someone with real skills. The outcome was already decided. Enough with the nonsense. I only ask you one thing. Where is the light demon now? Xiao Yan took a step forward, and the heavenly curtain shattered instantly. The terrifying authority caused the turmoil in this space to quieten immediately. You can barely protect yourself, and yet you still have the time to care about others? Utterly laughable. As for the light demon, let the Demon Emperor deal with it himself. Kelly sneered, though she could sense the terrifying changes in Xiao Yan after his transformation. Since that's the case, then let's start our reckoning with the Holy Sea from you. After Xiao Yan spoke, a mysterious energy suddenly appeared around his body. The clan mark flickered, amber-colored flames and blue wood vines surged, accompanied by the roaring breath of thunder. The current Xiao Yan was a far cry from the person he had been before. Fire? Would thunder? Kelly noticed this, and her entire demeanor shifted in surprise. Thunder fire Yama wood. Xiao Yan's soul power surged, and 3 exceptionally brilliant energy spheres fused almost instantly under the gaze of many. With the addition of the clan mark's power, this strike was ridiculously strong. A piece of deep black wood, about the length of an arm, quietly lay in front of Xiao Yan. Yet, anyone could clearly sense the terrifying aura emanating from it, causing a chilling sensation deep within their hearts. Poof! With a sound, Xiao Yan gripped the Thunderfire Yama wood in his hand, moving at ghostly speed. Before Kelly could react, he appeared in front of her. Glug! I'm an angel, you can't. Finally, as Xiao Yan closed in, Kelly realized just how foolish she had been. From the Thunderfire Yama wood in Xiao Yan's hand, she could sense an unprecedented terror. Don't worry, the people from the Holy Sea will accompany you. Crack! The Thunderfire Yama would made no pause. Then Kelly's aura and body shattered with a thunderous crash, like a crystal block breaking apart.